Welcome everybody to another edition of Women's Wellness. We know that it's been a stressful time right now, and our topic is actually quite relevant. You know, I would have to say we weren't predicting the future when we planned this topic together. But you know, springtime immunity is always an important topic, and you know, typically this is the time of year between October and March, I would say. Yes. Dr. Dow, correct me if I'm wrong, yes, but between October and March is when most of us pick up, you know, bugs here and there, little flus, coughs, irregular allergies, things that we don't, you know, typically get the rest of the year. So that is why we chose this topic for the beginning of March. And ironically enough, we are actually in a very, you know, I don't want to put too many words.
Interesting time.
I don't want to put the words on it that the media is doing, because you know, we're in an interesting time right now. So talking about immunity is a very relevant topic. So we have quite a few things that we want to talk about today that some are very basic, great reminders, maybe some things that you don't know about how to improve your immunity. But I think what we will start with is, I'm sure a lot of you do want to hear about coronavirus and COVID-19 and what Dr. Dow has to say about it, just in terms of protecting yourself. And so I think we'll start there, and then we're going to go through some specific topics about things that you can be doing, both for coronavirus and any virus or any sickness that you might come in contact with, just like we do every year. I mean, we're coming in contact with things every single day, and most of us don't even contract anything that we come in contact with. So in many ways, this is no different. But with that said, I'll give it over to the foremost expert.
Well, I don't know about that.
Dr. Dow.
There's a lot of experts out there who is doing such a good job trying their best to contain this COVID-19 virus issue. And I think it's really something for us to really appreciate and understand that plague, epidemic, and pandemic is something that comes from time to time, that occurs in our, there was a saying in Chinese medicine, every 20, 30 years, we're going to get a little epidemic. And so if we look back in history, and looking at thousands of years, and they were just a good, rich source of information that epidemic does occur, and it does comes at a certain timing with many centuries past us. So this is no different. This is not like something really new. The strain of the virus might be new, but the ability for the virus to mutate and creating problem and creating diseases is not new at all. And we're very fortunate, actually, that right now this COVID-19 is actually not as severe as things like SARS, as well as things like Ebola kind of situation. So in some ways, we need to actually be thankful that it's actually not as severe. It's very contagious, but not as severe in the sense of compared to these two other diseases. Now, having said that, I think the most important thing is really to find ways. I mean, there's this video shoot that we're talking about today is not really going into a lot of COVID-19 situation.
No.
Where you can get it from CDC, you can get it with a lot of the news outlets. Our goal today is really focus on what you can do to strengthen your own immunity.
Correct.
So your body can fight well with this condition. So we often say, if you're going to go into battle, you got to know your enemy.
You do, absolutely. And I think what we're going to talk about today is not just about immunity for COVID. It's about just general immunity, basic, basic steps that we all should be taking every day, not just in the flu season, but just all the time to keep ourselves well and healthy. So I think what we'll start with is basic hygiene.
Well, the basic hygiene is obviously washing your hand regularly with warm soap water. That is probably the best hygiene you can ever have. That can reduce a dramatic, pretty large amount of spread of any kind of germs, and not just parasites or viruses, but bacteria, etc. So I think washing hands probably is going to go one of my top lists of what we should do. There's still people coming out of the bathroom don't wash their hands.
I know.
I think we need to change that. We need to just tell people, please wash your hands after you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Please just do it.
I think sometimes people have to get called out a little bit.
Well, should we? I mean, I saw a cartoon with an arm. But I think, the case in point, if we just like everybody wash their hand coming out from the bathroom, I think right there, the spread of germs will be reduced just dramatically just by doing that. Okay, just to start with. I think it's important to also, when you come from the outside, a lot of times this is just kind of like a personal hygiene that, if I've been out for the whole day, when I come into my own home, I take out my clothes, put it away, wash my hands, wash my face. Mm-hmm. So I actually do a little wash in that ways. So our hygiene is actually important when we get home. And that's very important. And also, that if you're out there, if you are touching a lot of things in the public area, just hand sanitize regularly or wash regularly. But I don't think you need to go crazy over it. No. And just try not to touch your face so much. It's your hands. It's been many
because
places.
We touch everything.
So
let's do a real life example. So this morning when I went out to run some errands in our crazy Los Angeles,
raining day today.
Yes. So I had some hand sanitizer in my pocket. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And so I went into Sprouts and had my sanitizer in my pocket. I did a little shopping, did my shopping, put it in my cart, mm-hmm. got back in my car, mm-hmm. I sprayed my hands, and then I have wipes in my car. Mm-hmm. So because I had been touching things inside Sprouts and whatnot, I grabbed my wipes and I just, I wiped down my steering wheel and, mm-hmm. The things I had been touching, and I sprayed my hands. So does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that, absolutely. But don't forget, if you're washing your hands and using hand sanitizer for quite a while, your hand's going to be chopped. And because it's got alcohol in there. And so, once you wash your hand thoroughly, maybe put a little moisturizer on it, some lotion on it. I don't think that the harms. I think that works really well. But when we look at a flu situation, a COVID-19 situation, the people that have issues and don't make it out, in a sense, people who has cardiovascular diseases, people who is overweight, or people who might have diabetes, or some immune compromised situations. Sure. So I think it's kind of important, and it might be a little too late right now. You'd be, oh my God, I need to lose weight right now. No, don't do that. I think the most important is just trying to be healthy during this period of time, eating well, trying not to load up with very, very heavy foods, a lot of vegetables. And,
so let's transition into that. So we were talking about hygiene. Mm-hmm. So let's transition into diet.
Yes.
Superfoods.
Good.
I know that in Chinese medicine, we talk about a lot of specific vegetables and mm-hmm. fruits that are superfoods for our immunity. Mm-hmm. So I want you to talk about that. And I also want you to talk about the importance of soup, because I know soup is also very important, especially with this weather.
Yeah, I'm going to just point out one particular herb that I think everybody should have it in their repertoire, and that would be cinnamon. Okay, cinnamon bark. You get fresh cinnamon bark, you get fresh cinnamon powder. But cinnamon is an incredible spice, but it's an incredible herb. It really regulates, we know it regulates blood sugar, but it also really strengthens our immune system in our fighting power. And so using a little cinnamon, the beautiful thing about cinnamon is that you can mix with so many different things, okay?
Yes.
So you can
put it in my coffee that I'm probably not supposed to be drinking.
I don't want to hear about it, but it's okay. Actually, coffee could be good. Just don't overdo it.
Just one.
Just one. Okay, but you can do tea also, and we can mix with a little. What I would do is mix a little bit of maybe a few lemon drops, and put some ginger in there.
Okay, I'm taking notes too, everybody.
Ginger, and then actually a little honey. Just a little honey.
Yeah, honey's very good.
Honey is very healing. And so when you have these things, they are like tonics. They're really immune boosters. Other things, hot soups, like what you're saying.
Hot soup is
chicken noodle soups.
Broth based.
Yeah, broth based.
Preferred.
Bone marrow.
Bone marrow
is good too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or a vegetable broth if somebody's like a vegan.
You know what?
Or
mushroom.
Mushroom.
Green mushroom. Okay, the mushroom actually have a lot of very strong antioxidant, but also very strong immune boosting actions.
Okay.
So the Chinese like the mushrooms and works really well.
And what other superfoods come to mind?
Well, these are some of the superfoods you can do right away to boost your immunity. I mean, you have to understand there's many superfoods for different things.
Correct.
Like,
That's
strengthens your heart, antioxidants, all that. But you want to focus on the immune superfoods. So the immune superfoods, I think honey has got to be top of this. Cinnamon's the top of this. Turmeric.
Turmeric. Yes.
I think turmeric can be really helpful. And you don't need, turmeric is a spice. You don't need a lot. Okay, just a half teaspoon.
But make sure you're using black pepper with it.
You like black pepper. Why is that?
No, well, black pepper actually turns the turmeric on. Like any good supplement of turmeric has black pepper in it.
Well, I think if you put cinnamon in there, I think it would.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
But black pepper, yes. Black pepper is also another thing. Just don't overdo it.
Okay.
Don't overdo it. Otherwise, it's way too spicy and you just get to burn your tongue.
If somebody doesn't like that. Yeah. But if they're taking even turmeric as a supplement, because you can take a turmeric supplement, you can take they do have cinnamon supplements. I mean, these are things right now I think you can find.
Yes.
You're not going to find hand sanitizer, but you can find cinnamon. So.
Yes. So just to start with this wonderful, and don't forget hot drinks. I mean, I'm not talking about scorching hot, just warm hot drink. Goes down easy, and actually they're naturally temperature-wise. They're naturally antiseptic just by temperature.
Yes.
Okay. Now some people say, well, how about whiskey? Whiskey would just do it.
How about whiskey? Dr. Dao?
Whiskey is antiseptic too.
It is.
And I actually would suggest, I don't know about whiskey, but I think a warm little shot of brandy.
Oh, brandy. Okay.
Might do its trick. It actually has therapeutic values, but don't get to a point where you're really tipsy and drunk. I think that doesn't. Right. That just.
I think I'm having an influence on you with this
really
alcohol conversation.
You're really having this.
A little wine, a little brandy.
Yeah, but I think you got to do it right because alcohol is a carrier and is actually a form of, basically, it's a form of medicine. It's a form of medicine. And we use alcohol. I mean, the major ingredient in Purell, and hand sanitizer is alcohol because the alcohol kills germs. We kind of know that. And alcohol occurs naturally. Okay.
Yes.
So even a small amount of alcohol can kill germs. So there's always debate, how much alcohol should we use? Is 70% good enough? Is 90% good enough? Is witch hazel, which has 10% alcohol, is that good enough? Right? So there's a lot of debate what's good enough. I think, if it's a super bug, you probably want to have a lot more alcohol, a lot more percentage. But normal bugs, bacteria, simple bacteria, or even just your regular virus, I think even a small amount of alcohol can kill. It doesn't require not much, like crazy amount of alcohol.
So before we go into kind of cleaning and things like that, let's talk a little bit more about supplements, vitamins, herbs.
Well, right now, there are really two things that has been evidence in vitamin arena. That would be vitamin C and vitamin D.
Okay.
Vitamin C, 1,000 milligram per day. Vitamin D, 2,000 IU per day.
1,000
C,
2,000 D.
To be helpful in strengthening one's immune system, and people is less likely to get sick when they take these supplements on a regular basis. There's also some, but not conclusive, but I think it does help things like zinc. Okay, zinc does help, and you don't really need that much zinc. Okay, so zinc can be very helpful. So these are some of the elements that has been known to be very helpful for. And then you can take just vitamins. Okay, some multivitamins.
Yeah, multivitamin.
That can be helpful. And then if we talk about herbs, I think there are some herbs that treats the disease, treats the flu, treats the cold. In fact, I was just been reading about how the Chinese hospitals been treating the COVID-19, and I've been analyzing that quite a bit. There is a published cases where there are 30 cases where this young physician, TCM, Chinese medicine physician, have actually used the Chinese herbs to actually help to cure and put in remission some of these situations of the virus. And some of the herbal formulas that we were able to see has been used for thousands of years, because thousands of years ago they had plague. Okay, they have smallpox, they have all sorts of other diseases that we don't even know what to call at that time. So basically, those formulas are pretty. We can find them and we can really work with them. But there are two types. There are actually formulas or herbs that can be helped to stimulate your immune system. There are herbs, for example, like ginseng, like codamnosis, like Astragalus, like Radix ciliaris. These are some of the herbs.
I don't know what those are. I only knew the first one, ginseng.
Yeah, I know. These are Chinese herbs. Chinese herb. I mean, there are other herbs that.
So there's things that people would need to come
to stimulate, to strengthen
see
your immune system,
or talk to
and this
you
is
about.
this is to be taken when you're not sick. Okay, when you're
Before.
not sick, right? So when you are sick, then you need herb that can treat the sickness.
Correct.
Then you need all sorts of different things. That's not just antiviral. There are also things that can be antipyretic, help to reduce the fever. There are herbs that's decongestant, that helps to get rid of congestion. There are herbs that actually helps you to open up your chest. And the most important, what this woman has discovered, what this physician has discovered, is that don't wait. There's a lag time between a CAT scan. Because CAT scan, you can show when you're having pneumonia and they start to get cloudy.
Okay.
And the lung is actually shrinking down, in some ways collapsing down, and there's cloudy spots. And so what she have found is that if you don't wait until that actually happens, because once the symptoms going to occur before the CAT scan shows. So when that happens, what you want to do is you want to try to treat it ahead of time. So you want to start utilizing some of these formulas before you start to feel shortness of breath. So if you start having congestion and having cough situation, but no shortness of breath yet, and that's COVID-19, and they'll test the positive COVID-19, we immediately using some of these herbs as treating us. And if you probably haven't had pneumonia yet, but treat us, you're going to have pneumonia. So if you treat it ahead, it seems to be very effective according to her.
That would be effective for anything, whether it was.
It's a little different because the pathway of this virus, flu has different kind of things. Every flu has different kind of expression of different symptoms. And COVID-19 is one of the most interesting. Is basically a variant of SARS virus. It's pneumonia. Okay, that pneumonia is what gets to people. So what we want to do is try to prevent pneumonia once they get sick. Yeah.
So as we continue to talk about, so we talked about food, we talked about hygiene, we talked a little bit about supplements and herbs. I know that our immunity is also impacted by our gut health and what we're doing to take care of our gut. So can you talk a little bit with everybody about the things that you recommend for good gut health and probiotics and the everyday things that we can be doing to strengthen our gut that actually helps our immunity?
Yeah. So to strengthen our gut, we need to make sure that this is called the middle area of our body. I call this Middle Earth. This is really our Mother Earth, because that's what nourishing us, right? So food goes in there, it gets digested and gives us the energy. So a lot of things affects our digestion. This is not just food. it's also stress.
Mm.
So
So
the
true.
more anxious you are, the more stressful you are, your stomach just don't do that well, don't digest well. It slows down. Things don't get fermented as well. And you start to get constipated, or you get diarrhea, or you get gas, you get bloat, you get pain. You just get discomfort, and your appetite may be just deranged. Your appetite can go crazy. Your appetite can be totally reduced. It becomes dysfunctional and irregular. So the very first thing is not just about food. The very first thing is that you gotta figure out a way where you can contain. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. COVID-19 brings a lot of anxiety out. Okay.
No, definitely.
And
We're seeing a lot of that.
people's
right now.
behavior is really ridiculous in the sense is we are all anxious. And there's good reason for it. I'm not saying that we don't have good reason for it, but I think, we are anxious for the wrong reason. We need to chill. We need to calm down and think thoughtfully, be rational, and actually be more courteous, be more nicer to people. Because, as much as we want to survive, the only way we can survive this is to be together. We have to survive this together. And the way to do it is really to take care of each other, help each other to be better in their lives. So in this situation, as much you want to be anxious, you got to find a way to cultivate, to meditate, to quiet your mind. Sometimes you need to go take a walk.
And
sometimes you need distraction.
No, and we're gonna talk about that too. That's another item on my list. Yes.
Okay.
But I want to
deviate. So
it's okay. But I want
microbiome. I mean, you can take some probiotic.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you are naturally a little bit sluggish in your bowel movement, maybe you're lacking some probiotics. So taking some probiotic can be very helpful.
What about frequently yogurt? Like, does that help? Or
yoga help, but
but the probiotic is
much more,
stronger,
more intense,
potent.
Yeah, more potent. Taking capsules, if you need something more potent, I think yogurt you have to eat maybe a whole dozen to make that work. So I mean, we have a product that's called Super Probiotic we use in our clinic for our patients, and that works quite well. So it's something I suggest everybody that if you need probiotic, and talk to your healthcare practitioner, because they might have they are better person to evaluate and understand what you need.
Yeah. Well, that might be you or your brother.
Yes.
Or Angela. Or Albert.
Yes. And they're prebiotic too. That's what we call prebiotic and probiotic. The most important thing is that you want something that naturally has some enzyme. All right. So the Korean is the kimchi. There's some food enzyme in that. The Japanese have fermented soy, which is like miso. The Germans have sauerkraut. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good.
Delicious.
And the Jews, I think, have pickle.
Yes.
Some of these are fermented, and they are just rich in prebiotic and probiotic, and they have a lot of enzymes.
So we need to all eat more pickles, is what you're telling me.
No. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Oh my God, that's so sour. Anyway, don't overdo it.
It's almost St. Patrick's Day. Pickles, beer, sauerkraut.
Seriously?
Corned beef.
Is that how it goes?
Right? I mean,
corned beef, I understand, because you need something sour to bring out the flavor.
Yeah, it's good. Potatoes, sauerkraut. Okay, we digress sometimes. I'm sorry, everybody. Now. I know, I am too. So, so a lot of us also use essential oils at home. We might have a diffuser.
Lavender.
We might have a humidifier.
I'm going to start with lavender
first. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
I'm going to start with lavender first. You know why? Because it smells good. Okay. Yes, tea tree oil is so much stronger than lavender in the sense of antiseptic qualities. But not a lot of people like the spicy.
Well, it's also
peppermint.
tea tree is not safe for cats. So let me just also say that.
It's also too strong. So
but
lavender is more milder, and I think it's
it has more disinfecting properties.
Yes, it does. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, you don't have to go extreme. Okay, peppermint oil also. So we got tea tree oil, peppermint oil, but I think lavender would be good enough.
Also, I hear clove,
thyme,
eucalyptus,
rosemary,
eucalyptus.
Yeah, eucalyptus. Eucalyptus. Some people are allergic to that, so you want to be careful.
Okay.
It's just a tiny bit drop. It's very strong. You don't need a lot of it. Yeah.
So, and then I also have been hearing just a little bit about humidity in our home. If you have a humidifier, that can help.
Balance humidity is good.
It can help so that it's not a germ environment. Is that correct?
Yeah, but
Or,
also in the wintertime,
mm-hmm.
because we tend to have our heater on, we tend to don't put moisture back in air, so it's much drier. So our skin is cracked, our skin is drier. So what happens? And our mucous membrane is drier. So when our mucous membrane is drier, we are not able to fight germs as well
Sure.
as when it's more moist. Okay, so we want to make sure that we put some moisture back, like humidifier, drink more water, that kind of situation. So aromatherapy is part of that, because you're not just you're steaming some lavender, whatever you're doing. That's a carrier oil, but actually it's the steam that give you more moisture in the air. Now, if you don't want to get all that fancy, just boil a pot of water.
Yeah.
And then just
absolutely
put it right by your bedroom somewhere,
so it
steams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just be careful. Don't scorch yourself.
Yeah, no. And I'm actually laughing at us while we're talking, because I'm counting how many times the both of us have touched our face while we're talking to you. It's so hard not to.
Do you like that? I hope you do.
So moving on,
Yes.
I think another important topic that we want to talk about is sleep, and how that impacts our wellness and our immune system. And I think it has a much more of an impact than people even realize. I mean,
people get sick frequently when they don't get enough sleep. I mean, at least clinically, that's what I see quite a bit. So I think, the problem is that when we have a lot of anxiety, it's very hard to go to sleep because our heart is pounding and we just have so much anxiety. And I think we need to try to soothe ourselves, figure out some kind of sleep hygiene. So what I do is, I think in the previous podcast, I've talked about, if your sleep time is 10 o'clock, my sleep time is about 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So by about 9 o'clock, I try, but I fail sometimes. But what I try is, by 9 o'clock, I try to finish all my email. I don't touch the email anymore. I put my iPhone in another room, never in my bedroom. Okay, unless it's a true emergency, but I don't. I leave it out there. Everything's on silent, so I don't get disturbed. And I get some book that I want to read that's going to put me to sleep. So that kind of like help me. And also the light, I start to dim the light. So it's kind of like I help you to get into the transition, get into the zone of relaxation.
Okay.
I think just sleep hygiene, I think that's the key. And I actually have an alarm clock, 9 p.m. every day. That just tell me to get ready.
You need to get ready to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, wash my face. I mean, you can put your moisturizer on.
Sure.
And you can put some essential oil, that actually calms you.
Sure.
Some calming essential oil.
So let's talk about that a little bit more, because there's a lot of us, and I will throw myself out there, where I have no problem falling asleep. I mean, I could fall asleep at 8:30, 9.
Wait for sleep.
I mean, I get up really early, so like going to bed early, it's not a problem. But there's always that certain time that I wake up. And you talked about anxiety, and a lot of people are having anxiety right now. They're really stressed. They're thinking about what's going on, and their themselves, their family, probably even stressed about going to the market. And so how do we, if we're waking up, two things. How do we prevent that? And if we do wake up, how do we go back to sleep?
Well, first of all, a lot of time it could be anxiety, it could be hormonal. It could be menopausal, perimenopausal situations.
Hey, don't point the finger.
I didn't point. Did I use my fingers? I did not point. I did not say anything besides you're 25 years old.
Oh,
so it's okay.
Sure. Add 20 plus years of that. Okay.
So, so that's one. And the other thing is anxiety. I think a lot of people do genuinely have a lot of anxiety right now.
Yeah.
But anxiety does create sleep issues. Now, there are a lot of, mild thing that you can do besides the sleep hygiene.
Okay.
You can definitely try to take some melatonin. You can start with 1 milligram.
Before you go to bed?
Before you go to bed. Actually, I suggest 2 hours before, 1 hour before you go to bed.
Okay.
It's like after your dinner, and 1 hour before, like if I go to sleep at 10, I'm going to start taking the melatonin at 9 o'clock. And you can go from 1 milligram to 5 milligram. Okay. So you can start with very, very mild 1 milligram.
So try it out.
See how it works. Go 2 milligrams, 3 milligrams, but maximum 5 milligrams. Don't go beyond that.
So
Okay.
that's one. The other thing is magnesium. Okay, so if you have sleep issue plus constipation part,
Okay.
and I'm not pointing at you, and if you can have those
okay.
two things, and then use magnesium, that can also be very helpful.
Okay.
Not only that, I mean, there's such thing called a milk of magnesium. I mean, you probably heard your grandmom telling you the milk magnesium works so well for her, because it does help you to go to sleep, and it does help with poop. Now, if you don't have magnesium, you don't want to do those, how about warm glass of milk? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So,
or even you could warm up almond milk, even, or I think is it no?
Warm glass of milk works better.
Regular milk.
I'll tell you why, because it's got a little more fat.
What if people don't drink dairy?
Okay, almond milk.
I don't know. I mean, just
soy milk.
I'm just throwing it out there. There's some people that don't.
No, you got it right. You got it right. But warm glass
dairy.
milk is really good.
Okay.
Yeah, it really does put you back to sleep. Okay, but just don't drink a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because then you got to get up and go pee. Okay, so I would say probably like 4 or 5 ounces.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will share just myself, since I shared that I do wake up in the night, and I actually have a good friend. I don't know if she's watching right now, but she does too. Okay. So we will take a melatonin or a magnesium again when we wake up to help us fall back to sleep. Or if I have my AirPods or whatever around, while it may seem a lot, like I will put in a meditation to get the hamsters stop running in my head and listen to a meditation instead, which Dr. Mao has a lot of meditations that are great. One of them, which is sleep.
Yeah. Also, he has a stress management. But some people, it actually wild them up. So you got to see.
You have to see what works for you. But I know for me and for a lot of other people, if I can get my mind distracted, I can go back to sleep.
Yes. Some people like the raindrops. Like right now
or rain, you could, I know really the Calm app is a great app.
Yes.
That has a lot of the different sounds and and the rain or the ocean or things like that. Right. So I think because sleep really, really impacts us much more than we give it credit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I think also the amount of sleep is important. So I think as for men and women, the ideal sleep is about 7 to 9 hours, and just depends on each individual. There's some people they can handle 7 hours. Some people need 9 hours.
Sure.
So there's definitely a range.
Yeah.
But I think if you start to go less than 7 hours, I think it's too little. And consistently, I don't think that's. I think you'll age a lot faster. So I think sufficient sleep. So I'm talking about quantity. So the quality of sleep is also very important. Some people get up at night, and especially men, a lot of times as they get older, their prostate might enlarge, or they just start to go pee more often. So you want to be careful not to drink too much liquid before you go to bed. Yeah, especially after dinner.
Just like the dog.
Yes.
But you don't have one. But
you got to walk the dog, right?
You have to let the dog out before you go to bed, or they're going to get you up to go pee.
No, we are animals. We're just like them.
So.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so then let's talk about exercise, because exercise also, while it might really take a lot out of us, it actually
exercise is wonderful
healthier
when you don't have good enough sleep, and if you if you exercise regularly, you actually can stimulate your own hormones and your immune system and your blood flow. So it strengthens your surveillance, what we call white blood cell surveillance system. It really strengthens your own immune system. So highly recommend to have regular exercise every day. I always tell my patient about 1 hour per day. If they can squeeze it in, I think that's very, very important.
So is there a minimum? Because 1 hour
I think minimum
every day
about,
might be a lot.
Minimum is 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay.
20 minutes to an hour.
I think that's doable.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could be just walking up and down the stairs. Okay, I mean, that's
fit it in somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta fit it somewhere somehow. Yeah.
Is that why you take the stairs here in the parking garage?
Yes.
Is that your?
Yes, I like stairs. I don't know why I like stairs. I just like stairs. I don't like. I mean, elevators. I think scares me.
Oh well, that's
I mean,
a whole nother.
I don't have anxiety over elevator. It's just that it's anyway, we'll talk about some of the time.
That's a whole
It's
nother.
kind of
Hey,
weird.
I learned something new.
I just like
I didn't
to
know this
walk.
about
I
you.
like to walk. Actually, I rather go up steep hills. I can actually handle heights quite well. Heights is never the issue. I think even a close quarter I can handle to a certain point, but I just don't like our elevator here. It rocks a little bit.
Okay. So you don't do Magic Mountain
I
or
don't.
anything,
Yeah.
do you?
No. Oh, those rides.
Yeah.
When I'm younger, yeah, I love those
But
rides.
not anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, we're getting off topic.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So then I want to talk about another thing that I think is so important. We've talked about it a little bit, but I want to kind of really dive in a little bit deeper. Is mental wellness. We've talked about, being, you mentioned earlier, just, being polite, and we talked about, listening to meditation and things like that. But our immunity is so impacted by having positive thoughts, positive vision, seeing that things are going to be okay, feeling that things are going to be okay, controlling anxiety. So what can you share with all of us about mental immunity and making sure that our mind is in the right place?
Yeah, I think there's really a lot of times we have exogenous of coming from the outside, things that affects us in the sense of we don't feel good because we have a certain amount of pressure or stress, whether it's from work, whether it's from our life, whether not from parking tickets, those kind of things can irk us. I think a lot of time is more attitudinal. So that means is that it's about perspective and attitude. So a lot of times, for example, when you get a speeding ticket, for example, I gladly pay for it. And the reason being is because in some way the Chinese have this thought that the reason that you got a speeding ticket is because you might get into a car accident if you didn't get a speeding ticket.
Sure.
So in some ways, you are just actually paying that energy to actually mitigate what might be coming to you. So in some ways, you gladly pay for it, and you learn, reflect on it. Maybe I'm really driving too fast.
Like you actually find gratitude in.
That's right.
In the ticket.
In the ticket.
Okay.
You find gratitude in the ticket. It's like, hey, yes, it's expensive. I hate to pay for this, but in some way, look, if you got into a car accident, it's going to be even 10 times more expensive than what you just got through with the ticket. So it's kind of perspective. And so a lot of times you want to think about in the sense is that not everything is all black and white. Everything has two sides of a coin. Okay. There's the yin side of it. There's also the yang side of it. So don't just look at everything just one-sided. Always make sure you also look the other side. There may be benefits. I mean, it's not like everything is all negative. For example, virus. When virus hits us, yes, you could say it's all negative, but have you thought about what virus does for us? Virus, when they're good, they help us break down foods. They help us to digest food better. They actually, if you ever heard of Cas19, which is gene editing, I mean, if we want to get rid of genetic diseases, we're actually using virus to actually, separate the genes and for us to, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that even virus and bacteria can break down our trash. So there's always good things, never always just one bad thing. Also that when, I mean, I don't know if you realize that our DNA is a conglomeration of many different parasites and viruses as well. So if you think about it, truly we are not at the top of a food chain.
No.
Okay. Just want to put that in there.
Yeah.
And then and occasionally virus says, I don't know, too many human on earth. Let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
So we get plague. We get these plague and we ultimately wins. And so this is that struggle, that we have between human beings and these little critters called virus. But don't forget, virus actually can be positive to
and I think I want to touch on the fact that I think I can speak for you and I because I know how old we are. But I think probably for a lot of people watching too, we have been through many things like this before. we've been through swine flu and SARS and bird flu and, other things. And I think the difference today also is there's a social media aspect that is really making it much more difficult for everybody. And so I would really myself encourage all of us to just really use our heads and be smart about things and be sane about things. And you mentioned earlier, be kind and be nice. And, let's really think things through and not get sucked into what's on the media and social media. And let's not necessarily buy into what's happening out there, but let's be smart, but let's be, I would say, rational.
Be caring. We need to be caring.
And that's a part of mental wellness.
Yeah.
And mental immunity is having a balanced mindset and thinking positive and coming from a place of caring and love.
And sometimes even you don't feel like it.
Of course not.
Even a little gesture.
Yep, it goes a long way.
Caring really helps to break that depression or anxiety, and also help you to break your routine a little bit and help you to get you out of that doldrum.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I do want to, as we are getting closer to like wrapping up, let's talk just also about, if somebody wants to come in to see you or Angela or Albert or Dr. Mao, if they want to come into the office to see you for some treatment, or they want to do a telecommunication, a televisit, iPhone, FaceTime, Zoom video visit to help them with, quite frankly, any medical issue. But if it is even specific to immunity, what types of treatments do you recommend for people right now?
Well, they can definitely come in and see us. We are Doctor of Chinese Medicine. So we provide the modalities of acupuncture and Chinese herbal medicine, tuina, cupping, these kind of treatment for different condition, and we focus on the virus situation. That's what we do. So in some ways, we will help a patient in taking care of. A lot of patients, their immunes are compromised or weakened because they have, say, for example, allergies, or they have chronic sinusitis, for example. So I would recommend that you're trying to take care of that.
Take care of the things that are breaking down your immune system.
That is really like what we call putting a burden on your immune system.
Okay.
So, coming to get treated for like chronic sinusitis or allergies, that is something that I would suggest would be kind of like a top of your priority to take care of that and start to doing all those things we talk about to help at your home in your own ways to help yourself to strengthen your immune system. So you can come in personally for treatment. We do telemedicine, but most of the time for people that that's our patient already, as well as that's referral by our own patients. It's a service really to our patients and the patient's friends and family members, and that's what we do to take care of them. So we're in Santa Monica. So that is, and we're also in Pasadena. So Dao Wellness is kind of like east and west. So in Los Angeles, and Albert is over there in Pasadena, and Dr. Ma and I go over there on every other Fridays. And then Angela's over here in Santa Monica. She works with us. So we have a nice team here, a small team, but a very nice team in helping people with their illnesses.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would definitely encourage, I haven't thrown this out there before, but, if you have specific questions or there's things you want to just ask about and you're not really sure, you're not familiar with Chinese medicine, you're not familiar with herbs, give a call to our office. And, we have a very, very well educated long-term staff. I can help answer questions too. So if you need something, I'm Kelly. But we want to help you out. We want to help support you, and we want to help you both from a acupuncture and herbal standpoint, but also just just an amazing group of doctors and people who, quite frankly, just love on the human race and want to help you be well, and both, I guess, mind, body, and spirit, right? Yeah.
It's our passion. It's something we enjoy doing every day. And let me see what else. Is there anything else we need to cover that we haven't covered?
I mean,
think we covered quite a bit.
I think we did. I mean, I think
Okay.
I guess the only other thing I didn't maybe
Is
ask.
there any online questions we want to answer?
You know what? We're having Facebook difficulties again.
Oh, okay.
So no.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why I encouraged, if anybody has questions that you have, and because we're having Facebook difficulties, you were not able to ask them, please feel free to give a call to our office, or you can contact us on our website, daowellness.com, and go to the contact us, and you can send us a message that way. If you don't want to call, if you want to do it digitally.
Also our website. I mean, they can visit our website. We do have a lot of education.
We do. We have a lot of information on our
Chinese
website.
medicine, and what we do on the website. Yeah.
But we definitely want to help, and we want to support. And I believe in third time's a charm. So by the time I do the third
the Facebook Live's gonna work. Okay.
chat with Dr. Dao. Okay, I know this.
It's
next month, that I will get the Facebook part figured out, because for some reason it says we're live. Look right there, live on Facebook, and it's not working.
Okay.
So, but much love to all of you. Be kind, be safe, be well, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you.
Wish you well.
Thank you so much.